Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stalktober special event, straight from the heart of the Jakuls. I'm your shrewd host, Lothran, and there's ever so much work yet to be done today. So let's uncover all of it that we can while we still have the energy to do so. Hurry up and snag the best snack you can grab. Take the best spot there is. Get all nice and cozy to concentrate on every last detail of Held. Bode felt the invisible hand pull him inexorably back into the nest of bones and the pile of dust. All that remained of those that had been caught as he was now. "I need food! I have to eat!" He screamed at the top of his lungs. A cylinder fell from nowhere, spewing the same gelatinous, black, fetid, pus-reeking gunk out at Bode that he threw up despite having an empty stomach, made so by days of being locked in this cavernous prison. The flickering light on the wall chirped and warbled in a long dead and forgotten language, struggling to say what it needed to, likely as desperate for Bode to eat the inedible substance as he was to escape this clearly broken place. He'd recognized the word for help when this began, lost in a section of caverns, after a cave-in exploring with his friends, wandering, guided only by his hands in whatever hole he could fit himself through. Bode yelled at the top of his lungs when he spotted brilliant daylight. He'd ignored the shaky, distorted sound till the words echoed back at him, thinking they were either his own shouts filtered through his widening delirium or a rescuer's voice going through the same foggy mind as all of his thoughts. The phrases had been accurate, just the design of this place, in the long ages since it had been abandoned, must have deteriorated along with everything else. Even the floor simmered and frothed in rebellion against the vile food placed upon it. Hold on. Bode glanced about, making sure the walls didn't hear him. If he spoke or moved too far, that hand he could feel but not see would come back and put him in the proper place. He had a bone in his sleeve, remembering how the hand had almost crushed him the last time he'd hefted a piece of another being so long since shed skeleton. Scraping the limb in his hand over the steaming, bubbling paste, Bode plopped a bit of it on the wall where he sat. After watching it for some time, he came to a simple conclusion. It would take far too long to burn through the wall behind him than it would for him to starve to death in this stone cage. He had to come up with a plan, and soon. The light watched him patiently from beside the door. If he could do something about that, he might have a chance. Bode gathered a bit of acidic black goop on another bone he had to hide in his sleeve. The first had dissolved almost completely by now. He flicked it, shooting wide and low, but at least with the hot sizzle, he knew his gunk would work on the door as well. The door noticed his action, though, and began chirping at him angrily. "Fuck! Gotta move fast." Bode flicked two more hurried attempts, getting only slightly closer to hitting the light. It sounded as if the invisible hand was having trouble starting to rise up and restrain him. "Food! I need to eat!" he shouted, tossing this bone away in a spent pile, packing away another. The chirping stopped abruptly. The cylinder lowered once more. Bode could see that it had changed, and no longer was there a clogged spout. Now the black glop flowed freely from the end of the hole, and even after the cylinder should have fled, it remained and dangled as noxious acidic fluid dribbled constantly out of its end. Bode tossed caution to the wind, sensing his end could be near at any minute. The floor was quickly being covered in the deadly substance. He flicked the glops a dozen times towards the door and the light. He thought he might have hit the flare as the light in the room went out, the angled object, the only source, still working at all. Then the hand struck him again, slamming him against the wall, cracking his skull with a resonating crack, acid slowly creeping towards his position, his eyes shutting for what he hoped would not be the final time. And so it is, we've come to the extent of our time together once more. I hope you've enjoyed what I've presented here. I know I have. This was Held, another tale from the heart of the Jakuls. As always, I've been your steady host, Lothran, and now I must hand you off to Korvoth to lead you back on the path once you came. Go ahead, young Jackal. Let them find their safety, what little of it they have.
Hello and good night to each and all. Please leave your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. None of that awful mean or rude stuff, though. You keep that to yourself. Remember to like and share and subscribe to help us learn and spread and grow. And we strongly encourage each and every one of you to do your absolute utmost to stay safe out there. Goodbye and good luck, everybody. Good night. Stay safe. Bye-bye.